Alright, Barklord has made a gigantic, hour and 10-minute video, which is good, that's what conversation requires. And to some extent, though, I mean, what we have to concede here is that we have a different understanding of the premise, and that'll be revealed in this first clip. I mean, I haven't watched this video yet, but I did watch the first 2 minutes. And I'm going to comment. I'm just going to play parts of it, and I'll comment where I have to. So I'll just do this in pieces over the next, whatever, couple of days, or, see how it goes, see how my time goes as I play it. And so I'll just tie these pieces together. So here's the first little piece. End up evolving, and in the evolutionary process, they end up eating their own relatives, essentially. And it becomes this consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction scenario. And yeah, so deep.
You're leaving some things out, right? You're leaving out cooperation, consideration, intelligence, insight, happiness, interspecies cooperation, oftentimes.
Right, well, I haven't left that stuff out of any of my videos, okay? I've explained the context of that. All this cooperation stuff is basically gang warfare. Most of the cooperation has to do with gangs, just forming a stronger force, organizing yourself into a pack so you can rip something's skin off, steal their stardust, their star energy. Yeah, and the rest of these interrelationships between organisms are all basically parasitically motivated. It's all about what I get, okay? It's all about a seduction. It's all about a taking, I want the boobs and the vagina, whatever, with the rest of the stuff. So get real. It's all exploitation, generally speaking. And even if I was to concede your point, I mean, if we even talked about intelligence, it's a scheming tool. You're going to argue that most human brains right now are occupied contemplating the universe and the meaning and the golden donut and all that kind of crap? Or is it most human consciousness right now are focused on some kind of little bullshit soap opera? How can I get my brother to fucking drop dead so I can inherit all the money? Or how can I do all this scheming and wheeling, dealing, and fuck the other guy over, and all the little minds twisting to figure out their angle, where their cut comes from, how big a piece of pie they can get. You're going to tell me there's some other truth here? Then you're full of shit, I think. But like I said, even if I conceded your point, it has absolutely nothing to do with anything. I mean, you're just talking about heaven. That's all you're saying. You're saying there's some sort of little place that's supposed to be something magical that I'm supposed to get all gooey about. And I've made it as clear as I can make it. I don't get gooey about it. It doesn't mean a fucking thing to me. I understand what it is. I understand what my desire is. Alright? I mean, I know that, a beautifully cooked dinner is just fucking food. Alright? So you're not going to be able to sell it to me for $500. I know it's just fucking calories. Alright? And I have to eat them to survive. And it'd be good if I can derive some pleasure from that. But that's all that's a head game. Alright? I mean, theoretically, I should get just as much joy out of a bowl of rice, plain rice, than all your little French cuisine or your perfectly baked bread or some other kind of bullshit. Alright? So, yeah, I'm not caught up in that bullshit. You're not going to be able to sell me this idea that there's a distinction. And that's where our difference lies. Okay? You keep thinking there's something to do with this thing. That these little maggots are something other than a mouth and an anus and sex organs. And they're playing some other game than I want. And I want for no good reason, just because a DNA molecule says so. So this video is going to be preposterously long. But that's really the core of this thing. So let's not pretend there's a problem in our premises. Okay? We don't agree on what life is. Alright? So there's really, we have no foundation to have conversation. You believe in a phantasmagorical, spiritually guided, and controlled and manipulated universe. I don't. Okay, so we're not going to agree about anything that matters, because that's the definition of what is. That's the core of all value, is going to be caught up in that equation. If you believe this is chemistry out of control, you just can't make it into anything else. You can't make it into your nirvana or your your singularity. It's not going to go there. Intelligence is just a scheming tool by natural design. That's all it is. It's an augmentation to the penis. It's not a thing in and of itself. It's just another manipulated organ, okay? Another slave to the DNA. Another little slave organ to this idea that we have to get this stupid molecule into the future. I mean, sorry. It's a sad, dismal, pitiful, disgusting truth. Period. Alright, here is about 4 minutes in, and now he's talking about, like, somehow it's a problem if the idea is to eliminate sentience, on planet Earth. And, yeah, okay, again, I don't see a problem, okay? You're not exterminating it. You don't want to just sledgehammer it, but, yeah, you're gonna weed it out. You're gonna grandfather it out the best you can. You're certainly not gonna inject more of it deliberately. And that somehow this is a problem, and that somehow now there's some argument about implementation or something, like somehow we can't do it. Oh, come on. If there's a will, there's a way on this one. It's not that hard to do. So we'll play a little bit here.
The whole planet, or some other way of setting the whole evolutionary path haywire so that it self-destructs. I don't know what the plan is, but that sounds fairly diabolical, and it's not...
Yeah, all right. Again, diabolical by your standards, okay? Because you think the maggots are accomplishing something. You think the AIDS virus is accomplishing something. I mean, I could go right on... What do I have to go through? Every disgusting relationship that exists in nature, the wasp and the spider and the maggot in its brain and the snails that get the maggots laid in their brain. Do I have to go through every little bit of this carnage that takes place in this fucking soup of sick, sadistic, disgusting, putrid competition for absolutely no accomplishment? I mean, again, like I said, we're just completely disagreeing on the premise here. Our values are completely inverted because of that disagreement. There's just no way, like I said, what's the point? Let's just give it up. You're alien life to me, okay? I can't understand. I don't understand your roads. I don't understand your sidewalks. I don't understand what you eat. I don't understand what you talk. I don't understand a motherfucking thing about what goes on in your brain. Because all my brain sees out there, okay, is, yeah, it's cosmetically pretty. But all you do is scrape it just a little tiny bit. You scratch it just a little tiny bit. And you can see it is the biggest bar of fool's gold on fucking earth. Alright, we have been sold a piece of goddamn shit. And that's all there is. It's a piece of fucking shit. Alright, somewhere around 6 minutes now. So he went on a little bit of a thing that somehow I'm lacking compassion because I'm angry, disgusted, and fed up with this bullshit and this la-di-da whitewash of our fucking reality by people like Professor Anton. And he's claimed that somehow he didn't mock the subject. He completely mocked the subject. I mean, that's just a complete denial on your part. Alright, he didn't address a single real issue. He just fucking mocked the idea of it. So that's just bullshit. So I'm not even gonna dignify that denial of the truth. Yeah, okay. So you're going to give the subject the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, well, I still see value in this intelligence thing. Well, let's say we both agree that there would be value. I mean, I've made videos talking about this. It's the only thing worth anything is this intelligence thing. But as long as it's a slave to our bodies, as long as it's a slave to our need machine, it isn't worth anything. Okay, it's a malicious piece of shit. If it's all it's going to be used is by the parasite, the DNA parasite. So if you want to argue to me, it'd be really cool if we could, have 1 million human beings on Earth that were completely devoted to science and understanding and trying to figure out a way to maximize the potential of consciousness and create a singularity or create a virtual perfection or some other kind of thing, then I'd say, sure, let's do that. Alright, but we know that's not what the human race wants to do. It just wants to eat fucking hamburgers and watch American Idol. Alright, it doesn't want to do anything magnificent and profound. It wants to just be asshole. That's all human beings have written on their goddamn face or their ass or any other part of their body is fucking asshole. They go to sporting events and write asshole on their skin. They're just assholes. Alright? And you want to keep saying they're going somewhere, they're doing something, they're not doing a goddamn fucking thing. And they've proven that. And I'm just saying, yeah, great. If we can figure out some way to confine the best of the human race or make the cream rise to the fucking top or some other kind of bullshit, great. I just don't see it. All I see is it being insidiously dangerous. Human beings are insidiously dangerous. Alright, in this little segment, he apparently is going to find, I made the analogy between me throwing a fist, because nature allows me the ability to do it, has made me, sort of designed me. I got the muscle for it and the rest of it. That somehow I should be able to just throw my fist wherever the fuck I want, because nature gave me the ability, and because people are arguing because they have penises and vaginas, they can have babies. And they don't use any other justification. And so now he's going to say how that's not applicable, because somehow the assholes having kids have some sort of grander intent. No, I'm going to argue that for 99% of them, their intent is shit. It has to do with gratifying their own ego, using somebody else as a vehicle for their need to be loved, or some other crock of shit. It's a selfish act, just like throwing my fist would be a selfish act. Be generated by my natural DNA-given hatred, and why should I act on it? Why is that aggression any different than the love? It's both a function of the survival animal. So if you're going to glorify nature and say it knows what it's doing, then it knew what it's doing when it gave me that aggression.
Part of the trial has to be about the intent. If was it an accident or was it an intentional harm? And as we can see in the case of having a child, there's not always really any harm. Just coming into existence, there will be ups and downs.
Well, again, most drunk drivers don't have accidents. They don't drive into somebody's living room. But a few do. And that's why you say you can't do it. Is because when it goes bad, it goes too fucking bad. And that's what this game is here. You can play this game that life is in neutral as long as you have a kid dumb enough to get caught up in the game and be a little competitive monster in the game. He'll be okay and happy because he'll think he'll be functioning and accomplishing something because he's a little better looking than that guy, or he's a little taller than that guy, or he's got some other ego gratification going for him, or he's got some other rationalization that makes him think he's wonderful. Something else to build his ego with. He can verbally abuse somebody like you're saying, or he has some other skill that makes him all feel good about himself. And so yeah, then you succeed. That's the definition of success. You know how much of a failure that is when that's your definition of a success, is you've created somebody deluded enough to think that's an accomplishment? I mean, come on. Get real.
But it's not the same way as intentionally throwing your fist in someone's face, right?
Oh, well, like I said, the intent isn't to kill them, but maybe that's what happens, right? The intent isn't to hurt them. The intent is to stop them, maybe, or just express your anger at them, and that's what nature compels me, right? I'm just saying that people keep using this excuse that they have a biological right to reproduce, all right? It's a bullshit excuse. Like with all other vehicles, with all their mechanisms within us, we must license that ability. We must use it responsibly. Just like we must drive responsibly, we must drive our body vehicle responsibly.
Because most parents that I know there are a lot of irresponsible parents, but that's a separate issue.
No, it isn't. Okay, because they are part of the package. Again, you can't just look at the winners of the lottery and say, look at all these winners, aren't they all happy? Look at the smiling faces. And forget about all the losers where they sold their fucking food stamps to buy lottery tickets. Alright, so the kids went without food because they had to satisfy their little hope desires. Alright, so if you're not going to look at the fucking goddamn price of it, you're going to pretend that you can just write that off somewhere and it goes on some other piece of paper and you don't have to put that on the pad. Well, that's just bullshit. That's why this doesn't work.
Most parents, even if it's an accidental pregnancy, take responsibility and love and nurture and care for and educate.
I'm not even going to argue with you about that. And educate with other people's money. They don't take responsibility for their reproductive choice because they happen to be in the majority. They extort all the rest of us. All right, the biggest expense in my life is paying for other people to educate their kids and take care of their health care for their kids. Okay, that's my biggest expense before I can start living my life. That's what I have to pay to have a roof on my fucking head. Is 85% of my property taxes are going to somebody else's fucking kids. All right, so let's not pretend they're taking responsibility. They're not taking responsibility. All right, and look at the society we live in. We're $16 trillion in debt. Right? Is that taking responsibility? Borrowing money? That's taking responsibility? Sorry, fail again. All right, so I'll play some of this and come back. Sorry about this. Is going to be a long video. Alright, well, I'm back pretty soon. 8 minutes, 38 seconds in, he's talking about how he's taking responsibility for his child, and I don't really want to argue your personal circumstance, but when I'm talking about taking responsibility, what I'm talking about is the fact you can't take responsibility. You can't provide insurance against the accident, against the disaster. You can't provide a refund, okay? You can't undo the suffering imposed. So this is just, like I said, how are you going to undo the retarded kid? How are you going to undo autism? How are you going to undo all these circumstances that can take place that are just, nasty shit? There's no refund you can provide, so there's no way you can take responsibility. All you can do is declare some kind of bankruptcy, and it's just bullshit. All right? I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying you're a bad father by relative standards. I'm talking about antinatalism. I'm talking about why should the human race ever impose life on anyone when it doesn't need to do it? There's no necessity for it to take place. The universe will not weep our passive and graceful exit.
Academic award for math and science this year. Not because I was necessarily the greatest parent in the world, but I started him off on that process. When he was 4, 5, and 6 years old, I started him with his counting, and by the time he was in 1st and 2nd grade, we were already working on multiplication tables, not just memorizing the charts, but trying to understand what multiplication is. Group.
Well, again, like I said, I'm glad your kid is excelling by some sort of standard, right, of excellation. Okay? I don't know whether that equals good life or not. I don't, maybe not. Maybe it adds up to something in the future. I don't know. Some kind of possible social contribution or whatever. But again, who cares? I mean, I think it'd be great if you can have a kid and he's going to be a janitor for the world and he's going to prevent more harm, clean up the mess that the rest of the world is making. Great, okay? I mean, if that's better to have that kid in the world than all the other, another user, another parasite that creates more of a mess. But again, that's not this subject. This subject is about whether anybody should be endorsing anybody imposing life, taking that chance, taking that risk when nobody can buy insurance against the disaster.
Of things with same numbers in each one.
Yeah, I'll move on.
And he grasped the concept far.
Play this bullshit from these are.
And you're throwing that asshole remark to them when they haven't even done that, and they're not recommending that either. They're not recommending reckless procreation.
Thinkers do to a subject. This is how thinkers treat a philosophical subject.
How dare they smile? Is that what you're criticizing them for, smiling?
We are. We're gonna...
Yeah, they're laughing, Bark Lord. They're laughing. They're not just smiling. They're laughing about... it's like laughing about the idea... You're a vegetarian? What are you, fucking crazy? Cows are meant to eat. Yum, 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 yum. I mean, it's just a mock, okay? It is a classless, ballless argument tactic is to sit there and just laugh about a subject, because then you can make it go away. You can turn it into a cartoon. If you can't see that that's the game he's playing, well, come on. I think you're yeah, well, I'm maybe I've overestimated your intelligence. All right, a little further. So basically, he's complaining that that somehow I am having too high an expectation in some way, because I'm expecting Professor Anton to stay on the subject of antinatalism and not to make some blanket statement like, I don't care what you do, have babies, don't have babies, that somehow that's applicable to the subject. I mean, there's really no point in talking about whether murder should be a crime, right? So if somebody injected on the subject and just said, oh, I don't care whether you murder or not, well, you're really off the subject then, aren't you? I mean, how is that a contribution to the subject? Why don't you just say, I don't care what you do? I mean, it's a stupid argument. I mean, really, stupid argument.
I don't think he's suggesting just go ahead and be a serial killer. And I really don't think it's fair of you to compare being a serial killer to having a child.
Yeah, right. That's because you're not getting it. You're not getting what the word imposition means, okay? If somebody kills somebody, they might be doing them a huge favor. They might even be doing the world a favor. They could murder Adolf Hitler and the whole world might be better off and all that kind of crap. So it's just a kind of bullshit to say there's some sort of difference. No, the key ingredient is the word imposition. You're imposing. That's the arrogance. That's the obnoxious act, is the imposition, okay, of the values. So all you're saying to me is that people who value idiots chasing pink balloons, well, that value is correct, and people who value the victims that the idiots are stepping on chasing their stupid balloons, the things getting run over by the fucking retards, well, anybody who values that stuff can go to hell. Well, I'm just saying, fuck you. In my opinion, it's an imposition. I'm stopping the imposition. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm stopping the imposition. All right, you have to do that by imposing, but that's just the way it works out. Okay, there's no other way to stop imposers than to impose upon them. All right, well, this part's a little stupid. Anyway, so now he's on the Frankenstein analogy, pointing out that it's a science fiction thing. It's not real life. Well, I didn't say it was. It's an analogy. It's a metaphor. And I think it's a very good one. And now he's going to analyzing what Frankenstein is saying. And that's your business. You can do that, okay? I don't know exactly what was in the author's head. But I think the Frankenstein metaphor is about a lot more than taking dead body parts and animating them. I think it is basically a lot about what the hell is life? What the hell are we? What is the structure of this being? All right? And what is the nature of our bigotries and our hatreds, and what is this stupid game? And it's not a very happy story. It's not a very it doesn't have any good message in it, except that yes, we run on a lot of this, on ego, bigotry, misunderstanding, and exploitation.
Exactly the same as a person who is just born into the world, into a social context, who is generally similar.
He even said like somehow it would bother somebody to be made out of, I don't care if I was made out of dead parts. I don't give a shit. Especially if I look this good. Oh, who cares? So that's really irrelevant. The point is what's your life? What is it? What's it for?
To everyone else. Here's an interesting thing. I know you're a lover of science. There are a number of people that have had severe genetic defects and born with defects because of drugs that doctors gave the mothers while they were pregnant. Back in the late 60s, I think it was thalidomide, right? Those doctors, I don't know if they were held accountable or not, but that's a sign.
Why should they be held accountable? Again, they didn't act outside some boundaries of responsibility. I mean, it's not like they knew these drugs are going to cause this problem. And the bottom line is the benefits from using the drugs, probably in practical fact, were worth the cost. I mean, if you're going to validate this life game, you're going to have to accept all kinds of those kinds of trade-offs. There's no way to avoid them. I'm saying fuck the game, fuck the trade-offs. I don't want the trade-offs. I don't want to have to accept nuclear power with the risk that it irradiates, 100,000 people. I have no interest in these trade-offs. You're the one supporting the game. I'm not defending the game. But if you're going to defend the game, I think it would be a little bit stupid to say, oh, let's do without all this medical science stuff because, yeah, it does have to run over a few things for it to happen. You have to grind up a couple of humans to have a Hoover Dam. You have to grind up a few humans to have penicillin. Yeah, okay. I mean, if you're going to say it's not worth it, I think you're an idiot. But I'm certainly not the one defending it. Again, I don't want the imperfect world. I'm not defending the existence of the imperfect world. You are. Ugh, well now he's moving into some more irrelevancy. Making some sort of argument that Professor Anton has chosen not to reproduce, and so that's somehow evidence of his responsibility. No, the point is, you don't have to be a murderer. Like say, you don't have to be a rapist to be a menace. Okay, so if you defend rape, and you say people should be allowed to rape, or molest children, let's say you never molested a child in your life, but you think people should have the right to molest children. Okay, you're just as much a menace as the criminal if you're a vehicle for the crime being committed. Alright, so his inability to have an opinion on the subject of whether people should reproduce without some sort of license, some sort of statement defining exactly what they think they're accomplishing, at least some sort of notice, some sort of recognition that they understand what the risks are, and that they're going to say, I'm sorry, very loudly if it all goes fucking wrong. Right? That's going to be their refund. That's the rebate they're going to give back. So go ahead and plant that little rebate on the grave of the 18-year-old retarded kid who spent 18 years in plain hell. Yeah, he'll appreciate the rebate. Maybe he can get a free Cracker Jack or something, right? And that'll make up for 18 years of hell. Sure. Not.
Parents and mothers of children who decide that they cannot care for their child properly can do a responsible thing.
It's not the subject of antinatalism. Again, it's not responsible if you have no way to pay for the downside. Again, if businesses, if you have to have insurance against the failures. Everybody conducts business that way. You have insurance against failure. Alright? You just can't function any other way. And you have no insurance against failure. So either you make the system so failure is almost impossible, or you don't play. I mean, not that complicated. Alright, well I might play this bit, but anyway, now he's going on this stupid nonsense about the word imposition again, and he's going to argue this semantics crap again, and somehow I'm obligated or something to defend the word imposition as a neutral. I'm just saying the word imposition is a thing in and of itself. Okay, you were comparing imposition to the word gift as if they were opposite ends of something. They're not opposite ends. Imposition is different than gift. Okay, the words just shouldn't even tie together. That was my only argument. But yes, impositions are inherently, by their nature, negative. There can be circumstances where a net benefit is incurred through an imposition. But we know that the majority of impositions are not going to have that net benefit. So, whatever. I just don't understand this semantics. I'm against impositions, okay, between equals. If my judgment says no and your judgment says yes, okay, your judgment shouldn't trump my judgment. Alright? You shouldn't have a right to impose upon me because you're willing to take some kind of risk. That's your business. Take risk, again, with your own welfare, your own life. Don't impose it on me. Don't have me to reoccur on this planet and have to go through the same argument over and over and over for a million fucking years because you assholes keep thinking you have a right to play this game and create me. Alright, I'm a Frankenstein, I'm pissed off, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of waking up on the gurney and saying, Doctor, how come they just can't pitchfork you for good? Alright, will you stop it already, you fucker? Oh, whatever. This is just a little bit too wacky, so I'll play a little clip of this. I mean, now he's going to tell me what the definition has something to do with, atheism means autonomy and accountability or something. No, it doesn't have something to do with understanding evolution and recognizing that the world has been created by an unintelligent designer. No, it's about some other kind of babbly psychobabble. Sorry, I don't get that. The opposite of a god is an unintelligent designer. That's just the way it works. You're not an atheist. If you believe in intelligent design, you're not an atheist. I mean, it really is that simple. So that's just bullshit argument. What else do I want to get to? Damn it. I forgot it, but it doesn't matter. I'll play a little bit.
You want to impose your definition and change the definition and exclude people who have a positive attitude about
No, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. You want to take the word atheism? Fine, I'll just come up with another word. Like I said, I'm not even glued to antinatalism. Maybe I'll just change the language and say I'm anti-imposition, anti-impositionalist. Okay, I'm sick of you fucking assholes telling me that life's worth living. Fuck you. Okay, that's your opinion. Keep it to yourself. Keep it in your own living room. Don't let it escape into my consciousness. Don't create. Again, you're the one saying you have license. You have some right to play the game. Okay, you're committing the first act of aggression, and then you're complaining because somebody's fucking punching back. Well, fuck you.
life, even if they don't believe in any gods. If they don't believe in any gods, they are an atheist. That's the definition of the word. But
Well, I don't know. What's the definition of a god then, asshole? Okay, a god is an intelligent force. Okay, a creator, a designer. All right. So the anti-god would have to be unintelligent creation, right? So that's it. So if you don't believe in unintelligent creation, you're not an atheist.
would like to, at least in one video that I saw fairly recently, you would like to redefine the whole thing as anybody who has a positive attitude toward life is basically a cartoonish religious nut.
Yeah, well, anybody who thinks, okay, that retards designed the Empire State Building and it functions and stays standing for 100 years, yeah, that's really dumb. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Retards create waste. Retards make a mess. And that's what the DNA molecule has done on planet Earth. It's made a fucking mess.
Bullshit. It's just a cop.
No, we won't play me. Alright, I'll be back soon. Alright, this part might be good. So he's saying that if you can't get people to agree to have one child or two child across the board, so he's sort of implying that there's no way to create policy to get this done. So let me just hear what he says here.
Why are you thinking that it's actually practical to convince everybody or pass a law and have them follow it? You know, we can't even pass a law against drugs or alcohol without it.
Yeah, well, we have passed a law against cigarettes, haven't you? So isn't that kind of funny? You say, oh, we can't stop these other things, but you can certainly extort the fucking hell out of cigarette smokers. Why don't we have an 800% tax on alcohol? Majority vice. Yeah, that's right. It's all about majorities abusing minorities. But anyway, the point is that we can implement a system that's fair. You know, unlike Great Text just poo-poos the whole thing, right? It's like, oh, this Chinese policy, they financially penalize people for having the extra kid. Well, all you have to do is, as long as you have a financial penalty that's completely tied to income, so the higher income you are, that you're progressively taxed much higher, so it really starts to hurt. Okay, so yeah, if the poor person has an extra kid, you charge them $1,000. If the rich person has a fucking extra kid, you charge them $1,000,000. Not that hard to make it equitable, but we don't do that. Okay, so whose fault is that? It isn't that it can't be done ethically and responsibly. It isn't that you assholes couldn't just grandfather cigarette addicts out. You couldn't just let us passively die in peace by just registering us as addicts, giving us our cigarettes, and letting us be the last cigarette smokers on Earth. No, instead you come up with a bullshit scheme to steal our money, and that's all you're doing. And you call that justice, or you call that a good plan, even though it doesn't even work. So that's the failure. You say you're protecting kids. You're not protecting kids. You want to stop kids from smoking? Make cigarettes unsellable to anybody who's not a registered addict. Then no kids could ever smoke because no kids could ever get cigarettes. There, problem solved. Oh, there's no way to make money. Oh, fuck that. We can't screw somebody over and steal their money. Yeah, so fuck this whole argument. The point isn't can it be done ethically. Of course it can be done ethically. The fact is, but humans suck again. Yeah, so the problem is humans suck. Alright, sorry, I shouldn't keep doing this. Okay, so it's going to say maybe there are some. So let's see what this the rest of the sentence was. Maybe there are some
better solutions. But one of the things that I always thought was strange is that if you really could convince everyone to stop having children, at some point there's going to be mass starvation or at least probably mass suicide because civilization will be unable to function as soon as more.
Well, again, this is just nitpicky stuff. I mean, of course, if you're reducing population, you're going to get mechanisms in place for that end game kind of scenario. And the last livers would probably, yeah, kind of do, you know, they'd finish themselves off in the end. You know, at some sort of just say, yeah, when you hit 65 and that'll sort of be the end or whatever. You know, you do it in some kind of sensible way. But this, again, this is just a little nitpicky bullshit. It doesn't go anywhere, this nitpicky bullshit. And if you did like a voucher system for the reproduction thing, people could still have more kids. All right? I mean, it's doable. You know, the people who really were obsessed, they just can't live without it. Okay? They could solicit people to give them their vouchers so they could have more kids. But the point would be to get some mechanism in place where you can just start knocking it down. Slowly but surely, you knock the number down. So it starts off at 2 kids, and then it's down to 1 kid, and then it's down to half a kid, you know, where you have to get more vouchers even to start the game. But yeah, it's doable. It's not a matter of how, it's a matter of will, and the will to do it right. And yeah, humans fucking suck at that. So you know, but what's your alternative plan? Right? I mean, to get anywhere you want to get to, any kind of we don't want transhumanism, I don't think. But any kind of Shangri-La you're trying to head for is going to take just as much human improvement to get to your place as it would to get to my place. Okay, humans are going to have to change radically and actually have laws that are rational and fair and ethical and all that kind of crap to get where you want the human race to go anyway. So we're both in that boat. The incompetent human is going to get in both of our ways. Alright, so I got a little further in, 28 minutes. Okay, so he said the animal life thing, again, is another issue for him. I don't think anybody's been obscure about this, okay? I mean, the game is to stop the whole DNA machine, the DNA Borg-y kind of thing. Alright, so the animals have always been part of this equation. They're not going to be left behind, left to nature. Why the hell would we do that? There'd be no point in wiping out humans to leave crocodiles in charge. What the fuck would that be? That would be insane. Insanely stupid. So yeah, that's just bullshit. So then he went on to this ridicule thing, that somehow people have a right to ridicule me and all this kind of stuff. I don't give a fuck. Okay, fine. You want to complain because I just said fuck. Oh my god. You know, have a faint or whatever. It's not about that. It's about arguing the argument. They're not arguing the argument. They're arguing my personality. All right, if you can't see that, again, I've way overestimated your intelligence. If you can't see the fact that people are just arguing with Gary's personality and not even getting close to the message. And again, if you can't see that Professor Anton and friend didn't even come close to any of the issues involved in the subject of antinatalism, the whole imposition subject ignored. The whole, like I said, I can give you all the analogies, and none of them were touched in their discussion. It was all just this psychoanalyzing why people would find life stupid. Right? Isn't that all they did? They just sit there basically said, well, these people who think life is stupid are just psychologically broken. Isn't that all they did? I mean, did they really do anything else other than that? I don't think they did. So that's just bullshit. So now you're on the voucher thing, and you know, Greytex does the same thing too. This whine that somehow the rich are going to buy the right to have more kids. Well, I really don't know if that's the worst thing in the world that can possibly happen. okay, that people who have the financial means should have more kids. Who cares? I mean, realistically. And especially if we have a fair economic system where you don't inherit ownership of the system, well, then it's, kind of game on, right? Then you're just going to have to earn the privilege, okay? There's going to have to be some merit involved. So I'd rather give kids to people who have some merit than to give people kids just because they have a penis and a vagina. That's really dumb. I mean, if you have, if you actually had a species of human that was just functionally retarded and they were reproducing at 5 times the rate of the normal humans, would you just sit back and say, everything's just fine? Yeah, I did a chart, and it's going to be just fine. Yeah, that's right. There'll be absolutely no regular humans. We'll be like extinct, like Cro-Magnon man. We won't exist anymore, and all that there'll be is the retards. I mean, that would be kind of dumb just to ignore that truth. But I don't want to get into any eugenics thing. I have no interest in any racial superiority or any of this other kind of crap or any blue-bloody kind of shit. All right, but I really don't have a problem with rich people, people who have the means to take on the responsibility of having kids, having the extra kids. If somebody has to have the stupid fucking kids, I guess what I'm saying is I'd rather the people who have the means to take care of them have them, rather than the dumb fucks who don't have the means, are alcoholic, are jackasses and idiots. I mean, if I had to choose my parents, I'd certainly choose, if that was on the list and you could choose little attributes of your parents, having enough money to afford me, that would be one of the little things I'd check off pretty damn fast. Well, he's saying some more junk on this, so I'll let him go.
You say sorry. You could be really smart, you could really love children, but if you're rich and you have the ability to buy them things, I could see that going, I could see vouchers going to those people rather than people that actually care.
Right. So look, in the voucher system, what would have to happen is poor people would basically have to sell out. Okay, so somebody like me, now who doesn't want to have kids, I would have a voucher. And basically what I'd say is, yeah, I'd put it up for auction and just say, whoever gives me the most money, they can have my voucher. All right? And so isn't that the bottom line right there? Is that who's allowing that to happen? Oh, yeah, it's the human beings themselves that are deciding to sell out their voucher. So, I mean, maybe some people will keep their voucher and only give it to white people because they're white. And the black people do the same thing, or this person will do the same thing. So, yeah, that'll be people's choices whether they do that. All right? But it is their voucher. So why shouldn't they have the right to do that? All right? I mean, if they own it, if it's their thing, they should have the right to sell it if that's what they want to do. Why not?
It's just one of the possibilities. I'm just saying.
It's done, okay? And it's done in a civilized, decent...
Okay, I won't be playing me again. Oh, gee, it's insufferable. So now he's saying it's not antinatalism if you have a voucher system. I said in the video, the vouchers would decline in value. So eventually it would be antinatalism. Yeah, you go anywhere you go, you have to go by some sort of plan. All right? You're not going to just say, nobody have a baby, and nobody has babies anymore. Obviously, you're going to need a plan. So this is just so annoying.
Right? You've changed the subject.
Yeah, right. I changed the subject because I talked about how it would be implemented. Oh, yeah, that's changing the subject. You explained how you would actually build the end result. This is the road to the end result. I'm showing you how you pave the road to the end result, and you're calling that changing the subject. Afraid not. Till next time. I'm out of time on this camera, so I'll save this for later.